everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting Chief Librarian Tigurius. Yes, we are painting the Chief Wizard Man for the Ultramarines himself, and well, we're going to jump in and we're going to start painting him. He has been primed in grey Seer, and the colour we're going to be using first is Kantor Blue, which is not a contrast paint, but we're going to be applying this over the top of all of his armour and his banner. Well, not over the top of the entirety of the banner. We're going to be applying this over the top of the kind of field of the banner. Just like this. Now I might take 2 thin coats to get a nice strong Kantor Blue. All over the top. So don't worry if it does. For now, I just want to get this all over. So with all of that Kantor Blue applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 2 parts Lahmian Medium to 1 part Leviadon Blue mix. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of that blue. So with that all done, we actually haven't applied it over the top of the field of the banner in here, but we have done it over the top of the back of the banner. That's intentional, don't worry about that. But what we're going to do now is going to move on and we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of kind of all of the leather and the joints in the armour. So this is going to include his gloves, as well as any other black details you want to pick out. So it'd be things like some of the ribbed cabling and stuff like that. So with all of that Black Legion applied, as you can see, there's quite a few different details, such as the gloves, the staff, the belt. We got the kind of the robe and the cover of the book on the banner as well. What we're going to do now is we're going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of his inner tabard roby bit. What we're also going to do with the Skeleton Horde is we're going to apply this over top of the pages and the parchment on the banner. With that Skeleton Horde all applied, our next port of call is to take some Baal Red, and we're going to be applying this over the top of the outside of his cloak. Just whilst we're waiting for all that Baal Red to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Guilliman Flesh. I'm going to apply this over top of Tigurius' face. Face is the word, not flace. That's not a word. Still waiting for those Baal Red robes to dry. What we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Templar and we're going to apply this over top of the horns on the armour and on the staff. With that Baal Red now finally dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Blood Angels Red and we're going to use this over the top of our cloak. Now if you want to, you can thin this down a little bit. Some Lahmian Medium. It shouldn't need it. So with that done, we actually forgot to mention it, but we are going to film it this time. We're going to also take Blood Angels Red and we're going to apply this over top of areas such as these remaining cables on the arms, not the ones on the chest. Like that sort of thing. We've got a couple of cables on the head as well that we're going to do. Such as that one there. There's a cable up here on the staff. With that Blood Angels Red applied, now what we're going to do is we're going to take some Imperial Fist and we're going to apply this over top of these ribbed cables on the sides, the remaining cables on the head, like so, and we're also going to apply this over the top of the border on the ballad. That's a banner, not a ballad. Like that. We're also Going to apply this over the top of the 2 lightning bolts on this shoulder. With that Imperial Fist all applied, and then going to take some Dark Angel's Green, and we're going to apply this over top of the laurels up here on the staff. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Shyish Purple and we're going to apply this over the top of the wax seals. On all our purity seals, as well as the cover of the book. And so with that then done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to apply this over the top of the skulls that have black horns. And this is going to include the one on the shoulder pad where we did the yellow lightning bolts, because I didn't realise it had, well, I didn't realise it was there. So we're applying this over that one as well, because we did black Templar over the top of the horns on that shoulder as well. There we go. But what we're also going to do with the Agrax Earthshade is we're going to apply this over the top of the skull on the banner, as well as the horns. And so with that now done, we're going to take some Tyran Blue and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our white details. So we've got the parchment here, and on the staff. We have the inside of the cloak, and we have all of these old teamers. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour and we're going to apply this over top of, well, all of the gold details. Now we're going to be looking for areas such as the Aquila in there, like that sort of thing, these kind of horned skulls on the gauntlets, this one here on the shoulder. We're looking at the casing of this psychic-y thing here, the belt, like that sort of thing. But what we're also looking to do is paint in the staff as well, in between all the kind of black detailing going on around it. So I'd recommend having the box art open see where all of this stuff goes, because we're looking at kind of the cross piece and things like that as well on the backpack and all that stuff. There's quite a lot of gold, as you'd expect from a faithful son of the Imperium. With all that Retributor Armour applied, one thing we forgot to do is to take some Gryph-Hound Orange, and we want to apply this over the top of the flames on the banner. And so with that all done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over top of all of our remaining details. So with that done, all of our base coats are now on Tigurius. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some shades. And the first of these is going to be some Fuegan Orange. And we're going to use this to shade all of the yellow and all of the orange. So with that then done, we're going to take some Nuln Oil and we're going to use this to shade the black, the gold on the staff and all the silver. And with all that Nuln Oil applied, we're then going to take some Guilliman Flesh. I'm going to use this to shade the remaining gold details. So not the staff, but everything else. So with that all done, Tigurius is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. However, there is a couple of things we need to do before he's at a true Warhipster battle ready. And one of those is to take some thinned down Corax White. And we're going to use this to relayer the white details. Specifically, the cloak and the old teamers. Just like that. However, what we can also do here, and you want a slightly smaller brush for this, is we can use this to highlight all the parchment. And so with that done, we're then going to take a small amount of Black Legion, and we're going to do two things with this. Firstly, what we're going to do is we're going to apply some little hazard stripes coming down the cable on his head. That sort of thing. What we're also going to do with the Black Legion is going to use this to pick out the U on the book. as well as to add some little script writing on all the parchment, just by adding these little squiggly lines. Like that. I'm going to do that on the book and on all the purity seals as well. I know it's early to do that kind of thing, but we might as well. So with that all done, now the highlighting can begin proper. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some thinned down Alaitoc Blue. I'm going to use this to highlight the blue armour. So with all that Alaitoc Blue applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Hoeth Blue. I'm going to use this to pick out the sharpest points in all of that blue armour. So with all that Hoeth Blue applied, the blue is now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone next. And we're going to use this to highlight all of our black details, including the stuff on the staff. With all that Dawnstone applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. We're going to use this to highlight all of our red details. So with all that Evil Sunz Scarlet applied, we're then going to take a small amount of some thinned down Cadian Fleshtone. I'm going to use this to add a couple of little spot highlights. So what we're going to do is just going to look for the kind of sharpest corners. In all the red. So with that all done, we're now going to move on to our next colour, which is going to be the bone details. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to highlight things like the tabard. So with that all done, our next colour is going to be some thinned down Moot Green. I'm going to use this to highlight those laurels. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down White Scar. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our white details, excluding all of this kind of parchment stuff. So this is going to be the inside of the cloak and all the ultimas, for example. So with all that white scar applied, we actually also applied it over the top of the eyeballs. I forgot to mention it, as you can see. But before we finish off those eyes, what we're going to do is work on the face, and we're going to take some thinned down Flayed One Flesh and use this to highlight his face. And so with that Flayed One Flesh all applied, we're then going to take a small amount of Frostheart. And we're going to apply this over the top of his eyes. So with the face now all done, what we can do is we can take a small amount of some thinned down pink horror. We're going to use this to highlight the wax seals on our parchment. And so with that then done, we're going to take some thinned down Yriel Yellow. I'm going to use this to highlight the flames on the banner. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold. We're going to use this to highlight all of the gold. Now what we're also going to do, in addition to highlighting, is on the staff, we're kind of just going to relayer it, just to add some real shine. But we don't want to do the whole thing, we just want to kind of leave some of the shaded recesses there. So just like I'm doing, just place a little bit of this Liberator Gold in the widest open areas. Just like that sort of thing. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to highlight all of the silver details. And so with that all done, we're now going to finish things off by taking some Blood Angels Red. We're going to apply this over top of these two little lenses up here. So with that all done, Tigurius is now finished. So what we're going to do is going to very quickly work on his base. Now the colour we're going to be using first here is Cygor Brown, and we're going to be applying this over the top of all the soil. With all that Cygor Brown applied, we're then going to take some Black Templar, I'm going to apply this over top of kind of all of the rock rubble, but not the large kind of broken pillar that he's standing on. And then with that done, we're going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the skulls. With that Skeleton Horde applied, we then want to take some Iron Warriors. I'm going to use this over the top of all of the metallic details, so things like the spent bolt casings and this pipe. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to use this over the top of the pillar, and we're going to use this to shade that silver. And after that's done, we're going to do what we always do. We're going to dry brush it with Tyrant Skull, finish it off with some tufts from Gamer's Grass, and give the rim a coat of Abaddon Black. And so with his base now complete, Chief Librarian Tigurius is now finished. And well, I really enjoyed this one. It's one I painted ages ago when it first came out, so I have to say a massive thank you to David for asking me to paint this one as part of his Patreon benefit, the top level Patreon benefit. And well, I hope you like it, David. I hope it's everything you imagined. Well, I just had a blast painting it, so thanks. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.